Good morning, family. Let me ask you something. Who are you? Not the name on your driver's license, not the titles, the labels, or the roles you play. Who are you when it's quiet? When no one's watching, when life punches you in the mouth and you're down on the mat. Who are you then? See, most of us are walking around like imposters in our own lives, pretending, performing, wearing masks. You're trying to be what they expect you to be, what they said you should be. But I came here today to set you free, because you were not put here to blend in. You were put here to stand out. Let me tell you something, your identity is not found in someone else's opinion. Your worth is not tied to what you achieve or how many likes you get. Your power, your essence, your fire, it's in knowing who you truly are. And you've got to own that. The world will try to define you. Oh, trust me, they'll tell you. You're not smart enough. You're too old. You're too young. You're not ready. But let me be clear about this. You don't need their permission to be great. You've got to decide right here, right now, that you are more than their opinions, more than your past, and definitely more than your failures. Because failure, that's not who you are. That's an event. That's a lesson. That's your stepping stone to greatness. But the problem is, you're waiting. You're waiting for someone to give you a title. You're waiting for the perfect moment. Let me tell you, the perfect moment doesn't exist. You got to create it. You've got to look in the mirror and declare, this is who I am. Not someday, not when I get there. No, today. Right now. Say it with me, I am enough. Say it louder, I am worthy. Now, shout it, I am unstoppable. Who are you? You're a fighter, a builder, a survivor. You've been through storms, but you're still standing. You've been broken, but you pieced yourself back together. You've been doubted, but you're proving them wrong every single day. And guess what? The world is waiting on you. The real you. The one who isn't afraid to show up fully, to chase the dream that scares you, to step into the purpose that's calling your name. So I'll ask you one last time, who are you? And when you answer, let it be loud, let it be bold, and let it be true. Because the moment you claim your identity, the moment you walk in your power, the world will never be the same. Now get out there and show them who you really are. Your identity is not defined by others' opinions or labels. This statement holds profound weight, yet so many of us live as though it doesn't apply. From the moment we are born, society begins placing labels on us. Boy or girl, loud or shy, smart or average. These labels start small, but over time they build into walls that can trap us. We become so entangled in how others see us that we forget how to see ourselves. This is where the real battle begins, not out there in the world, but inside your mind. Think about the countless opinions you've heard over the years. Maybe a teacher once told you that you weren't good at math, and now you avoid anything involving numbers. Maybe someone close to you implied that you weren't creative, and now you hesitate to pick up a pen, a brush, or an instrument. These opinions, often spoken carelessly, latch onto you like weights. They become part of the narrative you tell yourself. They start to feel like facts, but they're not. They're just noise, static in the background of your life. And yet, you let them guide your choices, your actions, and even your dreams. But here's the truth, no one else gets to define who you are. Not your parents, not your friends, not your boss, not society. You are the only person who truly knows what you're capable of. The opinions and labels others assign to you are based on their limited perspective. They see you in moments, in fragments, in glimpses. They don't see the full picture. They don't know the thoughts that race through your mind late at night. They don't feel the fire burning in your chest when you think about the life you want to create. They don't hear the quiet voice inside you saying, there's more for me. That voice, that inner knowing is your truth. And it's stronger than any opinion, louder than any label if you let it be. The problem is most people don't trust it. They've been conditioned to doubt themselves, to seek validation from external sources. We live in a world that thrives on approval, likes, shares, compliments, awards, and while there's nothing wrong with recognition, it becomes dangerous when you rely on it to determine your worth. Because the moment you base your identity on others' approval, you give them power over you. You give them control over your happiness, your confidence, and your destiny. What happens when the applause stops? What happens when the likes don't come? If your sense of self is tied to external validation, you crumble. You start questioning yourself. You start shrinking, playing small, trying to fit into a box that was never meant for you. And the saddest part, you begin to lose touch with the person you were meant to be. This is why you have to disconnect from the noise. You have to get quiet, tune out the world, and listen to your own voice. Who are you when no one else is around? What do you love? What drives you? What makes you come alive? These are the questions that matter. These are the answers that define you, not what someone else thinks, not what someone else says. Your identity is a reflection of your soul, your passions, your values, and your dreams. It's not something that can be dictated or diminished by others. It's important to understand that people's opinions are often projections of their own fears and limitations. When someone says you can't do something, it's usually because they couldn't do it. When someone tells you to stay in your lane, it's because they're too afraid to step out of theirs. You can't let their fears become your truth. You can't let their insecurities shape your identity. You have to rise above that noise and stand firm in who you are. But let's be real, it's not easy. It takes courage to reject the labels that have been placed on you. It takes strength to defy the expectations others have set for your life. It takes resilience to walk a path that's different from what others might choose for you. But that's where growth happens. That's where transformation begins. Because every time you choose your own truth over someone else's opinion, you reclaim a piece of yourself. You become a little more free, a little more powerful, a little more you. It's a process though. Breaking free from the weight of others' opinions doesn't happen overnight. It starts with small steps like catching yourself when you start to seek validation. Like pausing before you make a decision and asking, am I doing this because it's what I want or because it's what someone else expects of me? These moments of self-awareness are crucial. They help you peel back the layers of conditioning and reconnect with your authentic self. You'll also need to set boundaries. There will always be people who try to impose their opinions on you, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Some will do it out of love, thinking they know what's best for you. Others will do it out of jealousy or control. Either way, you have to learn to say no to protect your energy, your dreams, and your sense of self. Remember, every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with who you are, you're saying no to yourself. And let's talk about failure for a moment. One of the biggest reasons people let others define them is because they're afraid of failing. They think if I do what they say, at least I won't mess up, but failure is not the enemy. In fact, failure is one of the greatest tools for discovering who you are. When you fail, you learn, you grow, you figure out what works and what doesn't. And most importantly, you prove to yourself that you can get back up. So don't let the fear of others' judgment keep you from trying. Their opinions don't matter. What matters is that you're willing to bet on yourself. You have to understand that your worth is innate. It's not something you earn through achievements or recognition. It's something you were born with. You are worthy simply because you exist. And no one, no matter how loud their voice or how strong their opinion, can take that away from you. The sooner you embrace this truth, the sooner you'll stop chasing external validation and start living a life that feels true to you. It's also worth mentioning that your identity is fluid. It's not static or fixed. Who you are today may not be who you are tomorrow. That's okay. Growth is a natural part of life. Don't let others trap you in a version of yourself that you've outgrown. Just because they remember you as shy or unsure doesn't mean you have to stay that way. You have the right to evolve, to redefine yourself as often as you need to. This journey of self-discovery isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about aligning with the truth of who you are, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it's misunderstood. Because at the end of the day, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. The only voice you need to listen to is the one inside you, the one that knows your potential, your power, and your purpose. The moment you decide, everything changes. This idea is more than just motivational rhetoric. It's the reality of how transformative a single decision can be. Every change, every breakthrough, every monumental shift in a person's life begins with a decision. It's not about waiting for the right circumstances or the perfect opportunity. It's about choosing in a single moment to step forward, to take action, and to commit fully to a new direction. Decisions carry incredible power because they set the course of your life. Every decision you make, big or small, shapes your future in ways you can't always foresee. It's like the rudder of a ship. Tiny adjustments in the present can lead to massive shifts over time. When you make a decision, you are declaring your intentions to the world and to yourself. You are saying, this is what I want. This is where I'm going. This is who I'm becoming. What holds most people back is not the lack of opportunity or resources, but the fear of making the wrong decision. They spend so much time weighing their options, analyzing every possibility, and waiting for certainty that they end up making no decision at all. But indecision is a decision in itself, a decision to stay stuck, to remain in the same place, and to let life happen to you instead of taking control of it. The truth is, there are no guarantees in life. You can't predict the future, and you can't control every outcome. But what you can control is your willingness to decide and to take action. Decisions are not about having all the answers. They are about choosing a direction and trusting yourself to navigate the journey. You don't need to see the entire path to take the first step. What matters is that you start moving. When you make a decision, you unleash a chain reaction. That single choice sets off a series of events that bring new opportunities, challenges, and possibilities into your life. It's as if the universe responds to your commitment, aligning circumstances and people to support your journey. But none of that happens until you make the decision. Until you decide, everything remains in limbo, potential energy, waiting to be activated. Making a decision requires clarity. You have to know what you want and why it matters to you. Too often, people make decisions based on what others expect of them or what they think they should do, rather than what truly aligns with their values and desires. But decisions made from a place of alignment are the ones that lead to real change. They come from a deep understanding of who you are and what you stand for. Clarity doesn't mean you have to have every detail figured out. It means you have a sense of direction, a vision for where you want to go. It's like setting a destination on the GPS. You might not know every turn you'll take along the way, but you know where you're headed. Once you have that clarity, you can make decisions with confidence, knowing that they are leading you towards your goal. Fear often tries to keep you from making decisions. It whispers in your ear, reminding you of all the things that could go wrong, all the ways you might fail, and all the reasons you're not ready. But fear is not a stop sign, it's a signal. It's a reminder that you're stepping into unfamiliar territory, that you're growing, that you're pushing past your comfort zone. And that's exactly where you need to be. The moment you decide to face your fears instead of running from them, you take back your power. You stop letting fear dictate your choices and start using it as fuel to move forward. Fear will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. You can feel the fear and act anyway. That's what courage is, not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward in spite of it. Every decision comes with a price. When you choose one path, you are saying no to others. That's the nature of commitment. It requires sacrifice. But what you gain from making a decision far outweighs what you lose. You gain focus, direction, and momentum. You gain the freedom that comes from knowing you are in control of your life. It's easy to underestimate the power of small decisions. People often think that only big, life-changing choices matter. But the truth is, your life is made up of countless small decisions that add up over time. The decision to get up early, to take care of your health, to invest in your growth, to say no to distractions, these seemingly insignificant choices shape the trajectory of your life. Decisions are what separate those who achieve their goals from those who don't. It's not talent, luck, or resources, it's the willingness to decide and to follow through. Successful people are not afraid to make decisions, even when they're difficult, even when they're risky. They understand that growth comes from action, and action starts with a decision. One of the most empowering aspects of decision making is realizing that you always have a choice. No matter where you are in life, no matter what circumstances you're facing, you have the power to choose your response. You can choose to let obstacles defeat you, or you can choose to overcome them. You can choose to dwell on the past, or you can choose to focus on the future. The moment you decide to take responsibility for your life, everything changes. It's easy to blame others, to make excuses, to wait for someone else to fix your problems. But blame and excuses keep you stuck. Responsibility sets you free. It's the realization that you are the creator of your life, that your choices determine your outcomes, and that you have the power to change your story at any time. Decisions also require faith, not blind faith, but a belief in yourself and your ability to figure things out. You don't need to have all the answers before you decide. You don't need to know exactly how everything will unfold. You just need to trust that you are capable, that you are resourceful, and that you will find a way. The moment you decide to believe in yourself, everything changes. Confidence is not something you wait for, it's something you create through action. When you make a decision and follow through, you build self-trust. You prove to yourself that you can handle challenges, that you can keep your commitments, and that you have what it takes to succeed. Decisions are not always easy. Sometimes they require letting go of what's comfortable, familiar, or safe. Sometimes they require stepping into uncertainty, facing criticism, or risking failure. But the alternative, staying stuck, settling for less, and letting life pass you by, is far more costly. The moment you decide to prioritize your dreams, everything changes. It's not selfish to pursue your goals as necessary. When you choose to live in alignment with your purpose, you inspire others to do the same. You create a ripple effect that extends far beyond yourself. Every decision you make is an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to move closer to the life you want. It's not about making the right decision, it's about making a decision and then making a decision and then making it right. It's about committing fully to your choice, taking action and adjusting as you go. The moment you decide to take action, everything changes. Action is what turns dreams into reality. It's what separates those who talk about their goals from those who achieve them. But action starts with a decision. It starts with the choice to say, I'm going for it. I'm not waiting any longer. I'm taking the first step, no matter how small. One of the biggest obstacles to stepping into greatness is the fear of failure. People often think that failing is a sign that they're not capable or worthy of success. But failure is not the opposite of greatness, it's part of the journey. Every successful person has failed multiple times. They faced setbacks, challenges, and disappointments, but they didn't let those failures define them. Instead, they used them as stepping stones to grow, learn, and improve. Another obstacle is the fear of success. This might sound strange, but it's real. Some people hold themselves back because they're afraid of what success might bring. They worry about the pressure, the expectations, or the changes that come with stepping into a higher level of life. But success is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's the natural result of living in alignment with your purpose and potential. To step into greatness, you have to believe in yourself. This doesn't mean you won't have doubts or fears. It means you choose to act despite them. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to move forward in the face of it. Believing in yourself also means trusting that you have everything you need within you to succeed. You might not have all the answers or resources right now, but you have the ability to figure it out, to learn, to adapt, and to grow. Another critical aspect of stepping into greatness is taking responsibility for your life. It's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or external factors for why you haven't achieved what you want. But blame is disempowering. It keeps you stuck in a victim mentality, waiting for someone else to fix your life. Taking responsibility means owning your choices, your actions, and your results. It means recognizing that you have the power to create change, no matter what challenges you face. You also have to surround yourself with the right people. Greatness is not a solo journey. While you don't need anyone's permission to pursue your dreams, having a supportive network can make a huge difference. Seek out people who inspire you, challenge you, and uplift you. Surround yourself with those who believe in your vision and encourage you to keep going. At the same time, distance yourself from those who doubt, discourage, or diminish your potential. Greatness requires discipline. It's not about short bursts of motivation or occasional effort. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, and staying committed to your goals. Discipline is what separates those who dream from those who dream from those who achieve. It's what keeps you moving forward, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it feels like progress is slow. It's also important to remember that greatness is a journey, not a destination. It's not about reaching a specific goal or achieving a certain level of success. It's about the process of becoming, of growing, of continuously striving to be better. Each step you take, each challenge you overcome, each lesson you learn contributes to your greatness. It's a lifelong pursuit, and the journey itself is what makes it worthwhile. Stepping into greatness also means embracing your unique gifts and talents. You have something special to offer the world, something no one else can. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison, thinking you need to be like someone else to succeed. But your greatness lies in your authenticity, in being fully and unapologetically yourself. When you embrace your uniqueness, you unlock your true potential and attract the opportunities that are meant for you. Greatness also requires gratitude. It's about appreciating where you are while striving for more. Gratitude keeps you grounded, focused, and connected to what truly matters. It reminds you to celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and to find joy in the journey. Your past doesn't dictate your future. This is a truth that too often gets buried under the weight of regret, shame, and fear. People carry their past like a heavy chain, letting it hold them back from becoming who they are meant to be. They replay their mistakes, their failures, and their missteps over and over again, as if these moments define them. But the reality is, the past is a chapter, not the whole story. It's a collection of moments that shaped you but don't own you. No matter where you've been or what you've done, you have the power to decide what happens next. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that our past limits our potential. We think that because we've made mistakes, because we struggled, or because we failed, we're somehow unworthy of success or happiness. We let those experiences become chains that bind us, convincing us that we can't break free. But the truth is, the past is only as powerful as you allow it to be. It's a reference point, not a roadmap. It shows you where you've been, not where you're going. Too often, people let their past mistakes overshadow their present possibilities. They dwell on what went wrong, replaying those moments in their minds, allowing them to shape their identity. But you are not your mistakes. You are not defined by the times you fell short or the opportunities you missed. Those moments are lessons, not life sentences. They're there to teach you, to guide you, and to help you grow. But they are not the sum total of who you are. Your past is not a prophecy. It doesn't dictate your future unless you let it. Every day is a new opportunity to rewrite your story, to make different choices, and to create a new path. But that requires letting go of the belief that your past defines you. It requires choosing to see yourself not as a product of your past, but as the author of your future. You have the power to change your narrative, to break free from the patterns and beliefs that have held you back. One of the most powerful ways to break free from your past is to forgive yourself, Too often, we hold on to guilt and shame, punishing ourselves for mistakes we made or decisions we regret. But carrying that burden doesn't serve you. It doesn't change what happened, and it doesn't help you move forward. Forgiveness is not about excusing your mistakes, it's about acknowledging them, learning from them, and letting them go. It's about giving yourself permission to grow, to heal, and to start fresh. Another important step is to stop identifying with your past. People often label themselves based on their experiences. They say things like, I'm a failure, I'm a quitter, or I'm not good enough because of things that happened in the past. But those labels are lies. They are not who you are. They are simply stories you've told yourself. And just as you can tell yourself a story of limitation, you can tell yourself a story of possibility. You can choose to see yourself not as a victim of your past, but as a victor over it. Your past doesn't have to be a burden, it can be a source of strength. The challenges you face, the obstacles you've overcome, and the lessons you've learned have all prepared you for this moment. They've given you resilience, wisdom, and perspective. Instead of seeing your past as something to escape from, see it as something that has equipped you for the journey ahead. Every struggle you've endured has made you stronger, and every mistake you've made has made you wiser. It's also important to recognize that your past does not determine your worth. Too often, people tie their self-esteem to their past experiences, thinking that their failures or shortcomings diminish their value. But your worth is not something that can be taken away. It's inherent, unchanging, and independent of your past. You are valuable simply because you exist. No mistake, no failure, and no setback can change that. Your past may have shaped you, but it doesn't own you. It's a part of your story, but it's not the whole story. You have the power to decide what happens next, to take control of your life, and to create a future that aligns with your dreams and goals. But that requires letting go of the belief that your past defines you. It requires choosing to see your past as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. Letting go of the past also means letting go of the people and situations that no longer serve you. Sometimes we hold on to relationships, environments, or habits because they feel familiar, even if they're not good for us. But clinging to the past in this way only keeps you stuck. It prevents you from growing, from evolving, and from stepping into your full potential. To move forward, you have to be willing to release what no longer serves you, even if it's uncomfortable. Moving beyond your past also means embracing the present. Too often, people get so caught up in regret or nostalgia that they forget to live in the moment. They miss out on the opportunities, experiences, and joys that are right in front of them because they're too focused on what's behind them. But the present is where your power lies. It's where you can take action, make changes, and create the life you want. One of the most powerful tools for overcoming your past is gratitude. When you focus on what you have rather than what you've lost, you shift your perspective. You begin to see the blessings in your life, the opportunities for growth, and the progress you've made. Gratitude helps you let go of the pain of the past and focus on the possibilities of the present. It reminds you that no matter where you've been, there is always something to be thankful for. Your past is a teacher, not a jailer. It's there to provide lessons, not limitations. When you learn from your past, you gain the tools and insights you need to navigate your future. But to learn from it, you have to approach it with curiosity and prosody and openness, rather than judgment and fear. Ask yourself what your past experiences have taught you, how they've shaped you, and what they've prepared you for. Then use those lessons to move forward with confidence and purpose. It's also important to surround yourself with people who believe in your potential, not your past. Too often, people allow others to define them based on who they used to be. They let the opinions and judgments of others hold them back. But the truth is, no one else gets to decide your worth or your future. You have the power to choose who you want to be, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Stepping into your future also requires courage. It's not easy to leave the past behind, especially when it feels safe or familiar. But growth happens outside of your comfort zone. It happens when you take risks, Embrace uncertainty and dare to dream bigger than what seems possible. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's the willingness to move forward despite it. Your past may have been full of challenges, but it's also full of victories. Even in your darkest moments, you've overcome, you've endured, and you survived. Those victories, no matter how small, are proof of your strength and resilience. They are reminders that you are capable of more than you realize. When you focus on those victories rather than your mistakes, you shift your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. The process of moving beyond your past is not always linear. There will be times when old memories resurface, when doubts creep in, and when you feel tempted to retreat into familiar patterns. But progress is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about continuing to move forward, even when it's hard, even when it's messy, and even when it feels like you're not making progress. Your past is a part of you, but it does not define you. It's a chapter in your story, but it's not the whole book. You have the power to write new chapters, to create new experiences, and to shape a future that aligns with your dreams and goals. But that requires letting go of the belief that your past limits you. It requires choosing to see your past as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. It requires embracing the truth that no matter where you've been, you have the power to decide where you're going. Failure is a lesson, not your identity. This truth is often overlooked in a world that stigmatizes failure, where success is celebrated loudly, but setbacks are met with silence or shame. From a young age, we are conditioned to fear failure, to avoid it at all costs, and to equate it with inadequacy. But failure is not the enemy, it is a necessary part of the process, a teacher that shapes us in ways success never could. Yet, so many of us make the mistake of internalizing failure, wearing it like a name tag, allowing it to define who we are. When you experience failure, it's easy to let it seep into your identity. You miss a goal, and suddenly you're calling yourself a failure. A project doesn't go as planned, and you start questioning your abilities. A relationship ends, and you convince yourself that you're unlovable. But these are lies, false narratives that failure whispers in your ear. You are not your mistakes. You are not your setbacks. Failure is an event, not a person. It's something that happens to you, not something that defines you. The problem is, society tends to attach labels to failure. It's as though a single misstep becomes the entirety of who you are. You lose a job and people label you unemployed, you drop out of school, and they call you a quitter. You start a business that doesn't succeed, and suddenly you're a failure, but none of these labels are accurate or fair. They reduce complex experiences to a single word, ignoring the growth, the resilience, and the lessons that come from these moments. Failure is a mirror that reflects your strengths and your weaknesses. It shows you where you need to grow, where you need to adapt, and where you need to dig deeper. It's a tool, not a verdict. Every successful person you admire has failed probably more times than you realize. They faced rejection, criticism, and defeat, but they didn't let those experiences define them. Instead, they used failure as fuel to push forward, to innovate, and to evolve. The fear of failure often holds people back from pursuing their dreams. They hesitate to take risks because they're afraid of what might happen if things don't go perfectly. They stay in their comfort zones where it's safe, predictable, and familiar. But comfort zones are not where growth happens. They're not where greatness is born. To achieve anything meaningful, you have to be willing to fail, and to fail often. Every failure comes with a lesson, but it's up to you to extract it. Sometimes the lesson is about preparation. Maybe you didn't put in enough effort, and failure is showing you the importance of hard work. Sometimes the lesson is about timing. Maybe you rushed into something before you were ready, and failure is teaching you patience. Sometimes the lesson is about perseverance. Maybe you gave up too soon, and failure is challenging you to dig deeper next time. Whatever the lesson, it's there to serve you, to guide you, and to help you grow. Failure also builds resilience. When you fail and get back up, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. You develop grit, the ability to keep going even when things get tough. And that grit becomes a cornerstone of your character. It becomes the foundation on which you build your future successes. People who have never faced failure often lack the resilience needed to handle adversity. They crumble under pressure because they've never had to fight their way back from defeat. But those who have failed, who have been knocked down and gotten back up, are unshakable. It's important to remember that failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey to success. Every time you fail, you're one step closer to achieving your goal. Think of it like a staircase. Each failure is a step that brings you closer to the top. Without those steps, you can't reach your destination. So instead of fearing failure, you should embrace it as a necessary part of the process. Failure also forces you to confront your fears. It shines a light on the doubts and insecurities that hold you back. It exposes the gaps in your knowledge, the areas where you need to improve. And while this can be uncomfortable, it's also incredibly valuable. Because once you confront those fears, once you address those weaknesses, you become unstoppable. You develop a level of self-awareness and self-confidence that no amount of success alone can provide. Another important aspect of failure is its role in innovation. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history came from failure. Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each of those failures brought him closer to inventing the light bulb. Failure pushes you to think differently, to explore new possibilities, and to find creative solutions. It challenges you to approach problems from a different angle, and in doing so, it often leads to breakthroughs that would have been impossible otherwise. But to truly benefit from failure, you have to let go of your ego. You have to be willing to admit when you're wrong, to accept feedback, and to learn from your mistakes. Ego is what turns failure into a dead end. It's what keeps you stuck, blaming others or making excuses. But when you set your ego aside and approach failure with humility, it becomes a stepping stone. It becomes a source of wisdom and growth. It's also crucial to separate failure from your self-worth. Just because you failed at something doesn't mean you're a failure as a person. Too often, people conflate the two, allowing failure to erode their confidence and self-esteem. But your worth is not tied to your achievements. You are valuable simply because you exist. Failure doesn't diminish that. In fact, it often enhances it because it shows that you're willing to try, to take risks, and to pursue your dreams. Failure also teaches empathy. When you face setbacks, you become more understanding of others who are struggling. You recognize the courage it takes to try and fail. You appreciate the effort behind the attempt, even if the outcome isn't what was hoped for. This empathy makes you a better friend, a better leader, and a better human being. One of the most liberating things about failure is that it frees you from the fear of the unknown. Once you failed and survived, you realize it's not as scary as you thought. The fear of failure is often worse than failure itself. It's the anticipation, the what if that paralyzes you. But when you fail and come out the other side, you see that it's not the end of the world. You see that you're still standing, still capable, still full of potential. Failure also builds character. It tests your resolve, your integrity, and your commitment to your goals. It forces you to decide what really matters to you. Are you willing to keep going, even when it's hard? Are you willing to stay true to yourself, even when others doubt you? These are the moments that define you, that reveal who you truly are. Ultimately, failure is a gift. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become the best version of yourself. It's not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced. Because every failure brings you one step closer to success, one step closer to realizing your full potential. And the more you fail, the more you grow, the more you learn. And the stronger you become. You don't need permission to step into greatness. This idea challenges one of the most ingrained beliefs we carry, that our potential is somehow tied to someone else's approval. From the time we are young, we are conditioned to seek validation. We ask for permission to speak, to act, to explore, and even to dream. As we grow older, this pattern becomes so deeply rooted that we hesitate to move forward unless someone gives us the green light. But greatness doesn't wait for approval. It doesn't knock politely or ask if it's okay to enter. It demands that you step up and claim it without hesitation. The truth is, no one else can see the vision you have for your life as clearly as you can. They might not understand your dreams, your goals, or your purpose, and they don't have to. Your path is yours alone, and no one else can walk it for you. Yet so many people hold themselves back because they are waiting for external validation. They want someone to tell them it's the right time, that they're ready, that they're good enough. But that moment rarely comes. If you spend your life waiting for permission, you will never move. Greatness isn't about being chosen by others. It's about choosing yourself. It's about recognizing that you have the power, the potential, and the responsibility to create the life you want. Too often, people look to external factors to determine their worth. They think they need a degree, a title, a certain amount of experience, or someone else's endorsement before they can pursue their dreams. But those things are not prerequisites for greatness. They are excuses. They are barriers you place in your own way because you're afraid of stepping into your power. When you rely on others to validate your worth, you give away your power. You allow their opinions, their biases, and their limitations to dictate your path. You let their doubts become your doubts, their fears become your fears. But no one knows your potential better than you do. No one else can feel the fire burning inside you, the drive that pushes you forward, the vision that keeps you awake at night. That is yours and yours alone. You have to stop seeking permission and start taking action. The world isn't waiting to hand you opportunities on a silver platter. It's not going to roll out a red carpet and invite you to step into your purpose. You have to create your own opportunities. You have to knock on doors. And when they don't open, you have to build your own. This requires courage, the courage to go after what you want, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. Many people hesitate to pursue greatness because they fear judgment or rejection. They worry about what others will think if they fail, if they stumble, or if they dare to dream bigger than what seems possible. But the truth is, people are always going to have opinions. Some will support you and some won't. That's just the nature of life. If you let the fear of judgment stop you, you'll never achieve anything meaningful. You have to learn to move forward despite the noise, despite the doubts, despite the naysayers. Stepping into greatness also means letting go of the need for perfection. Too often, people wait until they feel perfectly ready before they take action. They want everything to be in place, the right skills, the right resources, the right circumstances. But perfection is an illusion. There will never be a perfect moment to start. There will always be challenges, obstacles, and uncertainties. The key is to start anyway. To take that first step, no matter how small, and trust that the path will unfold as you move forward. Greatness requires action. It's not about thinking, planning, or dreaming. Those things are important, but they don't lead to results. What leads to results is taking consistent, deliberate action toward your goals. Every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to your vision. And with each step, you gain confidence, clarity, and momentum. It's important to understand that greatness isn't about being better than others. It's not about competition or comparison. It's about being the best version of yourself. It's about maximizing your potential, living with purpose, and making a positive impact on the world. Your greatness is unique to you. It doesn't look like anyone else's, and it doesn't have to.